So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Harrison. We are back for another round of 16 game from the ESOC Stay-at-Home tournament. This is the matchup between PrinceofKabul and IndiaBot/Migo. The first game on Kamchatka. Winter spawned today due to some technical issues of selecting the variant, but no matter, both players have agreed and accepted this map. PrinceofKabul spawning in the north side of the map in the dark colour blue, playing as the French civilization. His opponent Migo spawning into the southeast in the colour teal, blending in with the ice very well. He's playing the British civilization. Would create start for both players. 2 mans being thrown down for Migo. Early trading post being thrown down by PrinceofKabul. And the first thing I've noticed is a nice goat steal here from PrinceofKabul. That native scout has quickly traversed the winter tundra of the winter version of Kamchatka, and he's picked up so many goats already. 2 to the north, picked up 1 on Migo's side, but has scouted quite a lot of the other goats. He's actually going to get lucky and pick up the other 2 in the middle. The 2 goats in the central, he might lose it, move it. Oh, I think Migo's going to steal those goats actually, and that's unfortunate at this level of gameplay. What I was about to say was, it's well known on Kamchatka for all these pardon me, goats spawn around the map, but there's always 2 sets of 2 goats right in the middle. Yeah, sound is on. I was just going to check my sound was on because it felt really quiet, but no gunshots have been fired as of yet. Well, I've missed gunshots down to the south. So, Prince gets an 80 food treasure as well. That's his first big treasure we've picked up. Migo already getting 85 wood treasure. That's the ability of not having to build a trading post early on. You just give that extra bit of time scouting the map and getting the treasure without it being contested. Having said all of that, somehow Migo's ended up with 5 goats due to the double steal, goat steal on these goats on this middle island north of this coin mine. So Migo up to 5 goats, just picked up his 6th up this side. May actually want to delete this goat. A bit of a hassle to get it home from all the way up here. And will he delete it? He's left it on its own. He may delete it. He's keeping it around. Maybe Migo has the spare APM capacity to control it all the way home. This goat looks like to be doing a bit of scouting forward base, picking some trees, but some good vision behind Migo's base. I have to assume that's pretty much all of Migo's scouting himself, and we do see some age ups already. Migo already aging up, 18 Vil pop, but I think he's just already aging quite fast actually, but they're now dropping manas afterwards. So there's the 3rd mana. So yeah, it looks like it was a standard 17 Vil age up. PrinceofKabul only just clicking up now. Gone for the standard 14 CDB age up with 1 house after dropping down the market. Could have ate 1 or 2 goats to get the 13 village up here, but chose to go for 14 villagers instead. 40 wood down to the south, going to be picked up by PrinceofKabul. Could be an option to take and steal his 2nd TP under Migo's nose, but likely will be just going to go for a single train post in this match. Could always go for this middle TP. Oh, he's not going to get it. Migo's going to say thank you very much. He's going to get 40 wood, and the Prince. Oh, that's unfortunate. The shift click away, giving Migo 40 wood. Not the biggest treasure, but that is an 80 wood swing, and you know 80 wood is not a small amount. Right, when he goes up to the next age at a rather fast 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Governor age up, outpost being dropped at home, 2 coin crates to go with. Barracks being thrown down straight away. Quite a lot of the huts being hooded nicely underneath the town centre. Looks like no Virginia company was sent this time. Migo going for the 2 manor house age 1 build instead of 1 manor house and 1 trading post. Prince is at home, 2020 population. It looks like he's gone for. He's getting steel traps right now, but it looks like he's sending 4 CDBs, training 2 CDBs as well. So it looks like he'll be throwing down a single house, a military production facility, which is going to be a stable built by 2 CDBs. And yeah, it's going to be 2 houses dropped down the side. It already has placed of mines and now getting steel traps. Nice native scouts. Will scout units being made from the barracks pretty much, or anything being shipped to the outpost. but it's basically on the direct line between Migo's town centre and Prince's. Right, let's have a quick look at both players' decks. Here's PrinceofKabul's deck. Pioneers makes its appearance in this game. Don't often see Pioneers on a French deck versus Britain. It's usually it's a very standard matchup. French player more often than not wants to get to that Fortress Age and then send these military shipments. Also going for Royal Mint and Refrigeration, just like we saw from Danielik in the last game. No space for Jaegers here. Migo's looking at his deck. He does have quite a lot of unit cards. 10 longbows, 9 musketeers, 5 hussars, and the 2 falconets. So no space here for either a 1000 wood or Royal Mint. The 4th age, 2 infinite rockets and the 2 factories are the cards of choice. And it looks like Migo has gone for just a single cavalry HP upgrade, no cav attack, and no advanced arsenal. Right, Prince is raiding with 4 hussars. Didn't get the 5th hussar in that batch, or maybe the 5th hussar's at home. Oh no, it's at home. Picking up Freitag the pet macaque. No Freitag. He's gone down. Prince is such a meanie, picking up a helpless macaque. Right, defensive musketeers coming out from Migo. Looks like it got a batch of 4 in that first batch, keeping that northern flank secure. Outpost guarding that straight path towards his base. More musketeers guarding that southern flank, and another batch of 5 has been trained. So Migo with 14 musketeers, and has got another musketeer in queue here. He knows that there's a stable from PrinceofKabul due to the scouts seeing that, but he's not exactly stopped at a 10 musketeer semi-FF or 15 musketeer semi-FF. He's got another batch in queue. It might just be for insurance purposes though. He's under no pressure to complete the batch. Oh, what a random explorer name that is. I don't even know what to say to that. Let's see what this was. Normal lad. So Migo has a normal lad, while the other one's a explorer with an interesting name. Oh well. Oh well indeed. Anyway, Prince aging up now behind this, going to the 3rd age. A couple of these deers out front of the base, possibly being herded away from the town centre, but does have a decent number of musketeers behind the town centre, nice and safe, just in case Migo wants to push up. But Migo now aging up behind this. Let's look at how many military units he does have. He's got 17 musketeers on the field. No raiding really happened from Prince. He must have saw the musketeers and thought, no, I'll wait for my opportunity later in the game. It feels like Migo just trained so many musketeers when he could have got away with 10 or possibly 12, you know, around that area. So let's look at units in queue. 1 longbow is going up. Looks like Migo will be aging up with the Adventurer, the standard politician to age up with on a land map. But Prince going for Skirmisher Dragoons right off the bat. Barracks were built in base. Probably could have built these barracks a little bit more forward. Put them in the middle, secure the hunt, coin mine, closer reinforcements. Potentially go for a 2nd training post, but probably won't need it now at this point in the game. And first card from Prince is 8 skirmishers instead of a shipment like 1k wood, which could have been a tactical option given that he's in the Fortress Age so much sooner than what the British can achieve. Looking at Migo's civilians, shall I say. I was in between saying civilians and settlers, and I kind of just crumbled there. Steel traps, place of mines, great coats, got the great coats. He's also got log flume though, so he's actually getting some decent wood income economy on his villagers, so he can spam out those manor houses. He's running out of nearby in-base straggler trees, and we'll have to move to this forest down to the south. But here comes the strong timing push from the French player. 8 skirmishers with 10 being trained. They're being fenced away though by the longbowmen age up and the longbows being trained. Longbows do particularly well versus skirmishers. Veteran longbow now coming in, and Prince will have to wait for another ship before he can restart his push. CDB is moving forward. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be a CDB pull into the fight, but just moving forward to secure the Ibex and the Silver Mine to gather that. Migo, though, doesn't really have to push out for resources just yet. He's got enough Ibex in his base, eating through a couple of his goats now, enough trees to carry on longbow production, still has his in-base 2 coin mines to supplement his coin income. Falconets come out, so veteran musks, veteran longbows will be protecting the falconets, and looks like this combination will do very, very well versus Skirm Goon. Longbows doing well versus the skirmishers and the dragoons. Falconets doing well versus the skirmishers. And musketeers just here, just to kind of usher away any dragoons which kind of wants to go on top and maybe try and melee down the falconets. Migo dropping down a southern wall, and here come those 5 hussars from the early H2 play, which we didn't see any raid in action, but now they're coming in at the time of a fight, and look at these villagers, they're getting, well, they were getting raided, but it looks like the hussars being pulled into the fight to go on top of the longbows and the falconets. Falconets unpacked, looks like these falconets were trying to unpack and get out there, but have to abort and fight. PrinceofKabul has won the fight very comfortably at this point. Skirmishers engaging the villagers, villagers moving forward to tank up so much damage. Dragoons in the background at the moment, and veteran musketeers are now getting on top of the falconets and getting some decent damage on, but I think the damage has already been done. Most of these longbows have been picked off by the falconets, and that's a big volley there. 4 going down just to that single falconet shot there, and that looked pretty bad for Migo, but he does have the stronger eco and likely the stronger follow-up at this point. Right, stable being thrown down by Migo. He still has his 2 barracks here, so we're looking to go into some dragoon production as well. 5 hussars first shipment being sent from Migo. That actually may signify that Migo wants to go for vet hussars into hussar production. Hussars going topside for a big raid. Villagers are now moving on to this northern Hudson mine. I think Migo has identified this as a timing of that the French need to start pushing out for resources, and these villas have left this coin mine. They see the big army, but it's not enough to save these villagers. This is a massive raid. About 8 villas there, not gathering, having to run away. Fights happen. Longbows has stopped running, turned around, going to engage with the skirmishers. More CDB pushed off of resources, and so much eco idle time from PrinceofKabul just by that great positioning of Migo's units. Ten longbow, next shipment from Migo, and I like the 10 longbow shipment just to kind of shore up his longbow count. Veteran cuirassiers coming out from French here, but there's only 3 of them on the field from the 3 cuirassier shipments. Oh, there's a big batch of 5, I missed that. That's a big timing. The classic 8 cuirassier cab switch being pulled by the French player, about 13 minutes. You could say possibly a little early. Sometimes they put it out a bit later, but actually if you go early enough, you can catch out a mass with no protection. Oh, but the villagers, they're going down, they're unprotected, and 8 cuirassiers are going to raid 3 villas instead. That is so horrible to see. You're losing 4, 5, maybe 6, 7 CDB here. That's the 6th one going down there, but what you're getting is a small raid in comparison. He's pulled back the skirmishers and the dragoons, but he's already lost so much, and the longbows can just fire from such a long range. It's just that was such a great raid from Migo. Dragoons having to scare away from the hussars, but the cuirassiers, they're kind of out of position there. So much resources into the fight, just not really helping at the moment. Longbows engaged from the dragoons. Dragoons forward on top of the longbow mass. That's not great. He's only losing about 4 or 5. Let's look at total units lost before this fight happens. Looks like 12 CDBs have gone down for PrinceofKabul. Vet hussars engaging the vet cuirassiers, tanking damage for the musketeers to do range damage behind. Right next to this pond as well, really great positioning from Migo. The cav have to go around one side, the longbow can just shoot over the pond with their long range, a small reinforcing dragoon batch. The military is in favour of Migo, the economy is in favour of Migo, and I think this game is going in Migo's direction unless something significant happens from Prince's side.
Je suis blessé, je ne peux pas bouger.
The Cuirassiers, Dragoons, Skirmishers running to the eastern side, hopefully to try and get a big raid, but actually they're running away from the Longbow Musketeers, and the resign happens. So GG there, big economic pickups on the north side, just raids and idling units, but then coming down to this coin mine and just picking up so many villages. And after that initial push from Prince of Kabul and the Fortress Age, kind of didn't do enough damage that he'd wanted to. Migo was just able to remass, and Migo put a few of those villagers in that fight to tank crucial damage. Still ahead in that eco population, built a few extra manors and trained some more villagers to recuperate position. Prince cut off villager production from the town centre briefly during that main fight, but then afterwards was started to lose a lot of his CDBs. Quick look at that idle villager graph. You can see the moments when that big fight happens in Migo's base. Quite a lot of villagers were having to fight instead, and that's why you see numbers like 15 idols, 20, and this continuous period of idle time, 20 down to about 15, and then back up to 20 fighting. But as soon as that fight finished, Migo was out on the map and raiding Prince of Kabul, even having a massive period of 20 idle CDBs, and anytime CDBs are walking, they still can count as idle villagers. And then towards the end, there weren't many idle villagers because they were all picked off and killed, unfortunately. And you can see that in the villager population. That military unit population fight, you can see French was hoping for a better fight versus Britain at that point, but the British was able to trade off 1 for 1, and with the better eco, replenish their ranks much faster, and longbows were just put in much more of a shift than what the skirmishers were doing in this specific matchup. Right, GG and 1-0 to Migo, and let's head on to the next game. Let me quickly just rehost my game. Possible sound bug that I can't remember if I turned on or off VSync. I can't remember which one's the option which potentially gives you the sound bug. So I was wanting to see if it made much of a difference, but I don't think it does actually. I was doing it just for the casted recordings beforehand. So yeah, that's something for me to look into at a later point. But luckily we can go back in and out of the games super fast, and I should be back into the lobby pretty much already. Let's have a quick look at the chat. We have see Jerry Muno making an appearance. Wicked Cossack is blessing us with his appearance on a Sunday afternoon. Could never be too old for a bit of Age of Empires free action on the weekends. Cascade as well. French fast industrial is also better. And you can catch up with the British ecos with factories. We've seen quite often Maito specifically going for the French FI versus players playing the British civilization on maps. And the game I'm thinking of is maybe Maito versus the Last Samurai, or Kaiser versus somebody. Maybe I Am Turk. Both happened on Tuparo, where the French went for the fast industrial, and it was just both times the French managed to pick up the game there. And I think French FI is a strategy that's been coming around late 2019 into 2020 as a favoured strategy of the French civilization. Right, looks like Migo is picking his home map as Guatemala. Prince has decided to pick the Japanese civilization. Iro is being countered by Migo. Good luck, have fun, and let's just go into ESOC Guatemala. Noosh chilling out in chat as well. Well played for Neutral Ben's previous series. About 170 people watching Prince versus Migo. Currently it's 1-0 to Migo after one game. Right guys, we are back for game number 2 between PrinceofKabul and Migo. Let me introduce this game a little bit earlier than the first one. There's some of the things we spend his time looking around the map. We have PrinceofKabul spawning into the north of the map in his colour dark blue, playing as Japanese civilization. We do see 3 wood crates on the floor. Wood crate start for Japan. Well, food and wood, shall I say. Migo playing as the Eero civilization, spawning down to the southern side, also getting that +1 food and +1 wood. The map here is ESOC Guatemala, map made by Dantil92, paying homage to the AoE3 fan favourite map, 4 ponds, which sees 4 very distinct but symmetrical ponds in each corner of the map. And the idea behind this is you can have efficient eco in multiple ponds, but it's away from your defensive town centre, so you have to kind of push out and defend any ponds you want to control with. Also, this map, you can see it's on the Yucatan skin font. There's a 2 TP trading route in the middle. The trading posts are quite close together, but the actual trading route itself is relatively large, so it's only worth picking up if you're playing civs who benefit from trading post playstyles. The natives on this map are the Aztecs, Aztec Nilla versions. I think it's Aztecs both sides. Unfortunately, I think these Aztecs are pretty poor, so weren't expecting to see too much Aztec action happening in this game. But Conquest being thrown down immediately by PrinceofKabul on this wood crate start is actually working on this big treasure here. 135 coin, guided by 1 outlaw blowgunner, 2 jaguars. Probably the only reason for this is he needs to wait for the consulate and Kami to come in before he builds that shrine, and he might as well just get a high ticket treasure while he can, especially as his 2 explorers are right next to each other. If you came across this treasure in about a minute's time, then you probably ignore this, but oh, that's outlaw blowguns reset. I think it's time just to move on and leave this treasure. It's not worth taking, because you're not going to spend that coin anytime soon. Divine Strike does come in. It's tempting to stay here now because it's easy for Migo to come and steal this, but this Explorer's taking so much damage from Outlaw Blowgun doing 30 attack each time, and he's having to run to the town centre, waiting for that stun to recharge. Janie, the pet jaguar, has been tamed by Migo. Migo now going for that trading post, making use of that wood crate start. The Discovery Age Travois is running around, drops the longhouse down close to the town centre, quite in the central plane of the map, in between the town centre and train post. It's not likely that'll get picked off. TP is down, and Migo can carry on his scouting. Prince has had to throw down an early shrine on his starting hunt. Actually, that is quite awkward because that is probably that prime place you'd want to put the Toshoga shrine down. That's unfortunate he has to shrine that. And if you look at Prince's side, you can't really see fully where Prince is scouted because this is Migo scouting, but he's only really scouted down here and on the back side. So 80 food treasure is his next target, likely to be followed by 100 XP, but he's got no knowledge on the map outside his base or what Prince is doing or where Prince is. Or where Migo is, shall I say, pardon me. We have Breeze in the chat who played a friendly show match before this series. He's licking his lips at the anticipation of a 4-pond, 4-dock boat boom on this map. It'll be interesting to see if he ever makes a return to tournament place games that he could come on this map and show us all how it's done. And Migo picking up 160 coin treasure, which is guided by the 3 outlaw blowgunners. Quite an easy treasure to pick up actually when you convert one and gets the other outlaw blowgunners into melee combat, especially versus your Jaguar pet treasure. 30 hand attack versus Guardians. Certainly nothing to be underrated. Right, first card coming in for Prince of Kabul. 3 fishing boats being sent to this pond. Japan is a very nice civ on this map. You can send your fishing boats without having to make a dock due to the shipments, and also the Portuguese consulate. Other civs, they would have to build the dock, which costs 200 wood, then train the boats, which they train one at a time. That's just a nice shipment for Japan to have, just to kind of bank some of that eco in a nice safe pond and force your opponents to invest resources into the water to actually disrupt them, or even better, pick them off. Alright, Migo has 2 shipments now due to the fact that he's had this 1 training post up and that 100 XP treasure he picked up earlier. That's Prince picked up. Prince picked the 100 XP up, but I think Migo picked one up as well. Yeah, he's already picked up 100 XP, 40 XP, and killing a lot of native guardians. So Migo will have a lot of shipments back to back. And let's just have a quick look at Migo's deck. Migo has 9 Deers in Age 1, the OP card that it is. 4 military shipments in Age 2 does suggest some sort of aggression. No 600 coin, triple upgrades as well for the infantry in Age 2. Goes to Age 3, standard card rack there. Looks like going for double Canyers, all the cavalry upgrades, and the 5 Renegade French. Not many cards in Age 4 though, missing 1800 resources, but does have 15 infinite resources. Or 1500 infinite res. Right, Prince of Kabul, fishing boats in the first stage, no fishing boats in the second stage. Very standard deck here from Prince of Kabul, not much else to say here, so no fishing boats upgrade, dock rickshaw, or 5 fishing boats in the second stage. And looks like he sent 3 boats to the right pond with the shipments, and 3 boats to the left pond from the Portuguese consulate. That war hut's only just come up from Migo, and the recalculated economic population suggests that it's heavily in favour of Prince of Kabul already. But looking at the res and looking at the crate being sent now, the all resources, and prioritising the gathering of the food and the coin crates, it looks like that Migo's is going to go for a straight, fast fortress here versus what Japan's doing. Could even go for a fast industrial. Is a possibility for that. Is now gathering the wood, but will soon be clicking up to the fortress age, and looks like no military investments into the second age is going to happen. Oh, that's nice. He's got 2 pirates as well. These are high HP units, 240 HP units. Very nice to tank. And just all these extra units he's managed to acquire in Age 1, Age 2 with his Explorer, and that's about 1000 HP worth of just spam infantry you can just chuck into combat in the third age, which could be, covering more important units like Forest Prowlers and Musket Riders, which Aero will likely be sending in the third age. Right, turning back the Fog of War, we can start to see how much of the map Prince's shrines, and the answer is not a huge amount. 110 shrine pop. He's currently at home. Does have Imperial bureaucracy as well, so does have good upgraded villagers. And a feature of this map, which always happens, is you have 2 coin mines far from your town centre, but both are behind your town centre more importantly. So potential for raiding, but it looks like how Prince's built his base with a couple of wall segments as well, just to halt any early aggression from Migo and force it around the sides. It looks like those gold mine villagers won't be raided that easily. Right, units in queue, 1 Forest Prowler in queue, 5 CDBs was sent as a pivot shipment, and the first card was crates of 1200 resources. 5 Forest Prowlers were trained, another 1 is in queue at the moment. Looks like this all resource shipment should be, and the wood will be put into a stable as well. I would like to assume, well, no, the stable was thrown down on the Age 3 Travois. There could be a couple of upgrades coming in. Does go for the second TP and Stagecoach, so that somewhat closes the eco gap, but I think he's actually given Japan a bit too much time in this matchup. Japan's had this strong eco for a long time, and Migo will have to have that time and push ready to go as soon as Prince ages up. Migo still has 2 hunts in the back. He's working on his 3rd hunt. Both players having access to lots of hunts at the back of the map. Remember, Migo shrines his hunts. He doesn't actually gather it. And those fishing boats are just still uncontested and not really contestable from Migo, considering he doesn't have a shipment in his deck. Does send 6 Kanyas. These are now elite Kanya horsemen, so he has invested into the Kanya horsemen, training some more Kanyas and Forest Prowlers, moving forward with his infantry, trying to siege down a small bit of wall, but that's not the wall you want to siege down. Honestly, I think these Forest Prowlers could go into stealth mode actually, and move around the back side of the town centre and just pick off a few of these villagers out in the coin mine. Forest Prowlers have the ability to go into stealth mode, and that can be such a devastating tool to use to raid opponents' villagers. Right, looks like he's going to push through the market, siege the market, and there's a big hole for him to run through, and trying to come in from this direction, putting pressure on the cherry orchards and this single coin mine. But he's undecided whether he sieges the market or the shrine or both or whatever. He's now pushing through. The military population is so much in Migo's favour, but Prince, he's Japan Consulate, could go for Japan Clubman if he hasn't already. Doesn't have too much export because he's already spent on the fishing boats. Disciplines Yumi, 9 disciplines Yumi make the field as well. Next ship from Migo is 8 Forest Prowlers. He does have a nice healthy mass of Kanyas, but not really enough to push into a very enclosed area. A couple of ashes protecting, pike militia available. Migo's just backing off here. Elite Forest Prowlers are now sieging down the consulate. Kanya horsemen backing these guys up, and Hussar skirmisher style unit composition here is a strong composition versus Japan. Japan could go into Nagis, but they would struggle versus the Kanyas. The Forest Prowlers do pretty well versus Musketeers. They do alright versus Yumi, but Yumi will eventually win that war. But notice how Migo has not gone for any musket riders, no Dragoon style units, because there's no need to go for Dragoon style units, and it's a play I see a lot of players do, is making Dragoons versus Japan. Somewhat of a questionable decision. Tries to get the snipe on a villager, doesn't manage to pick it up. These villagers, my boy, he has Eastern Medicine, and that villager survived multiple Forest Prowler shots and lives to tell the tale. There's not a lot of siege on these Kanyas, only 22 siege attack. The same attack as a veteran Hussar has as well. I think Hussar's, Colonial Hussar stats is 20 siege, 30 hand attack. So they're not the greatest siegers, but it's Yumi Archers trying to focus down these musketeers, these Kanya horsemen. But again, Kanyas resist Yumi Archer fire. They have a negative multiplier versus cavalry. The Cav also has 30% range resist as well, which is quite tanky. Where the boat does come in, but this Tashoka Shrine looks like it's going to go down, and Prince doesn't really have a way to deal with these Kanya horsemen. Prince is just waiting for the Kanyas to charge in, send the musketeers forward, but that's where the Forest Prowlers absolutely shine, move forward, picking off these Ashes one by one. But Migo, he's taken down the Tashoka Shrine. I think he's actually happy with the damage he's caused, and now he's just going to move off onto the map and work on other targets, including shrines to the east and west of the map. I wonder what he's specifically waiting for. I felt like Migo had a good time just to kind of continue pushing in, put pressure on the cherry orchards, using his Forest Prowlers to raid these villagers from a distance and try and trade off with the Yumi Archers. And we see now infantry combat and infantry attack coming in for the Forest Prowlers. I'd love to see a fire pit being built at home. The fire pit is built, and War Dance scales off the final stats of these units. So currently at 24 attack, with War Dance, all villagers, or quite a lot of villagers, that could go up to about 28, 29 damage from the elite Forest Prowlers, so a really strong option there for Migo if he wants to go into that war dance. And 29 attack units could actually do pretty well versus the Yumis. And Kanyas, once they have the attack dance as well, they can just cut through these units as if they're nothing. Disciplined Ashes, remember, only have a 3.5 multiplier versus cavalry, 13 hand attack. Okay, PrinceofKabul has now sent that infantry upgrade for the Disciplined Ashigaris. This gives them extra HP as well as another multiplier versus cavalry. So Prince identifying he has a weakness to this Kanya mass, and so he's buffed the units which he specifically needs to defend against them. Consulate being rebuilt, Prince having a nice amount of export now to make use of that. He's not actually being raided as much as I would have anticipated this game, so although Migo has a decent military mass out in the field, it's not really being used so much as of yet. I feel that Prince has the ability to mass up even larger, or even sneak in a cheeky Egypt to the 4th age by sending 1,000 coin. Might be a bit risky to do that, but if there's a civ which can get away with fast industrial defensive play, it's certainly Japan, and then they can send shipments like the 4th Flaming Arrow twice. Prince is currently housed right now, so he can't actually train any more military units. He even thrown down a few shrines at home, not on any hunts. They're always desperate when you're throwing down shrines, not on any hunts. Just because he has no map control really out the front, so he can't actually continue to keep these shrines alive on the huntable animals. Okay, infantry HP has come in as well. Even this Ninja Explorer, called big boy, certainly is a big boy. 1400 HP there, 40 range attack, strong unit. And we haven't even come across his crackshot ability, which I'm not too sure we've seen being used in this game so far. Right, Cherry Orchards run out from Prince. Looks like Prince will have to send Cherry Orchards as his next card. Only 1,000 food remaining. And the way of the bow, Disciplined Yumis with the Golden Pavilion back in it. The only extra upgrade these Yumis could really get now is a Daimyo to back these guys up. They also have the Consulate buff as well, so essentially they're triple carded. But the Golden Pavilion and the Consulate basically is about 1 card's worth of improvements. Prince is being very careful this game. He's not overcommitting. I think he wants to play this the slow game and starve Japan out of the coin. That might be a play style, but Japan have these mini factories all over the place. Does send 2 Cherry Orchards. Prince setting these up at the back of the base, away from the front line and away from potential raiding from the Forest Prowlers. Right, Lacrosse has come in from IndiaBot, and unfortunately my knowledge isn't the sharpest of where that tech's come from or what that tech is. I don't believe it's a speed upgrade or a... Is that a range upgrade? It's 22 range on his Forest Prowlers. IndiaBot, no. Nope. Text completed. Where's that text being complete from? Cross. I want to say it's a War Hut improvement, but the War Hut big buttons is the Tomahawks. That might be a big button from elsewhere, but I'm unsure about that one. 16 range from the Explorer. Guys, somebody can let me know where this Lacrosse tech has come from. It's not the European advanced arsenal. You can send new ways. This card's called New Ways. You put down a longhouse, and you can research counter infantry, rifling, cavalry, cuirass, range cavalry, caracole. So I want to find out where that Lacrosse has come from. Okay, the Aztecs being built. Their techs involve fishing boat eco. Oh. Hero HP 100%, let's go. And a coin crate investment, which is not worthwhile at the moment, so probably not worthwhile for ages. Is Migo going to try and get that tech eventually? It's only 200 woods, 200 coin, but doubles the HP of the Explorer. Maybe it just doubles the base HP of it. And we'll have to find out how much it adds on to this Explorer at the moment. Right, Forest Prowler's moving in. Staggered formation. Still a single town centre only up for Prince of Kabul. So only one town centre providing defensive fire. But the Yumi Archer count is not great here from Prince of Kabul. He has a lot of Ashies heavily upgraded, but not actually in the fight. They're just at the back, staying away from the Forest Prowlers. Sensible decision. Now that the wall's been taken down, he's going to charge out. Naginatas on top of the Forest Prowlers. No ranged cavalry here from Migo, so it looks like Migo has to engage the Naginatas with either his Forest Prowlers or Kanya's head on. But he's just going to kite back, keep these Ashies in front and pick them off one by one before smashing back in onto Yumi with his Kanya Horsemen's. A good kiting action here from Migo. He's continuously moving away, and those Ashi numbers are falling fast. And it looks like those Forest Prowlers are happy to turn around. That Explorer took down a lot, tanked a lot of damage. I think that tech came in after that Explorer went down, unfortunately. Maybe wrong there, but there's still enough Kanyas surviving, and now it's just a naked Yumi Archer mass. There's so many Forest Prowlers here. The base is opened up. The military count is in favour of Migo, and looking at units in queue, I think Migo has just more units arriving across the map. Only a couple Forest Prowlers there, and one Kanya in queue, but there's so many severely upgraded Forest Prowlers that it's just how do you deal this by Prince without going full Yumi and Agi at this point? Mito does confirm War Big Button 2+ range, and I'm thinking of the town centre Big Button, which drops off the Aero Tomahawks. Pardon me, of course, but yes, I noticed the +2 range there, and that is a really important card. I think it's upgrade. I think it's pretty underrated or underplayed. Forest Prowlers with 22 range can outrange the Yumi Archers, and it's just like a mobile, you could say mobile snipers really, just outrange the opponent. Oh my god, here comes Naginatas. Kanya's getting a massive raid in, and this could be alright in the end, but there's so many disciplined Nagis here, there's no anti-cav whatsoever. Big batch of Kanyas coming across the map to save Migo here. Looks like War Dance is in full play here. Ranged attack, 28, hand attack up to 38 due to the War Dance. The Clubmen finally make their charge from Prince of Kabul's base with all that export is now spent, but I think he's missed the window for them to be really effective. Most of the Nagis have gone down, the villagers are going down. He's had to push forward for that coin mine. Musket Rider is also doing very well versus the Naginatas, and I think Prince of Kabul is going to be tapping out soon. He did lose a lot of villagers there, did lose a lot of his units there, and he's out of natural coin. He does have factories on infinite coin. It's not the greatest income for these factories. Most of these shrines, but not factories, shrines have no villagers on them, and there's no Kami upgrades, there's no Toshogo shrines, so they're pretty poor anyway. 0.38 with all the animals on, but some of these are 0.1 coin per second. That is very, very low. Ashi Raid coming this side. Doesn't have Ashi speed on, does have Ashi attack and 41 attack with villagers. The villagers could have the greatest coat on they could ever find, extra large the size, but it won't be enough to protect them from mega upgraded Ashis. Ashi attack, Ashi HP. Yeah, it's 2 HP cards, 2 attack cards, as well as the Veterancy and the Golden Pavilion, so big upgrades. But that has allowed Migo to push into the base now. Ash is coming down to the southern side, straight into the Forest Prowlers. The Kanyas have gone straight for the villagers instead of the defending from the Nagis. Musket Rider is moving down to the south to try and pick off his Naginatas. Forest Prowlers are hiding in between the shrines, trying to use Prince's base to his own advantage. He could delete the shrines, but he might accidentally delete the Golden Pavilion. That would be quite funny. But there's just too much military here for Prince of Kabul to defend. Migo is just running cavalry around everywhere. Villagers fighting, but they're not the greatest fighters, and even more reinforcements. Explorer, 1900 HP coming in. Such a big tank, absorbing so much fire. Look at, he's already tanked 900 this fight in its own right, and he's still going. Looks like Fighting Frenchman has donated a lot of gifted subs. I will catch up on that after this game is finished. And that's it. Big Boy 2.0 still standing, survives to live to tell another tale, and Prince taps out. GG. Migo, second game there, winning back to back. Prince to higher rated opponents, and I predicted a 3-2 for Migo, but 2-0 already. I might have to revise that prediction. Wait. Why are we playing on Guatemala? It's just hit me. Why are we playing on this map? The benefits of having a co-caster, somebody can always look, check your back and kind of catch these things. But as far as I'm aware, yeah, Migo won that first game. I'm very certain it was Migo, not Prince. It's the loser who picks their home map, and oh no, of course no, I got the wrong player. No, my bad. Migo's maps are Dhaka, Manchuria, Cascade Range. It is Prince's maps, Ceylon, Indonesia, Guatemala. No, I got the wrong player, wrong maps. For some reason I thought it was Migo playing his maps, and the reason I got confused there because Migo has been playing a few Ceylon games, Indonesia's, because of this upcoming match he had. My apologies. No, it's all going correctly. Migo 2-0 up. Great first engagement there from Migo. I think all of us were a bit confused why Migo didn't push in. Did allow Prince to essentially remaster at that point, but I think once that fight was comfortably taken, and that was when all the Nagis were pushing out. The Kanyas were able to kind of kite. The Kanyas and the Forest Powers were able to kite, and that was a great fight for Migo to win. And afterwards, just controlling the resources before pushing in under the town centre, where you could be at risk of a intervention pop, Minutemen. So Migo was playing safe at that point, but always had the military advantage. Just never pulled the trigger with his Kanya horsemen. Just wanted to contain the map, and Migo's economy wasn't too far behind due to always idling Prince. Prince having shrines on, no hunts, Sugar Shrine going down as well, and just problems thereabout. Right, let's get on to the next game. Alright, next game. PrinceofKabul's game loading up. So, PrinceofKabul will have to dip into his map pool again. The options are either Ceylon or Indonesia to be played as game number 3. The big Indo comes out. It's now Migo's turn, InjuBot 1999, to pick the civilization he wants to play on this map. Then it's PrinceofKabul can then go for the counter pick because Migo did win the previous game. So strong counter pick options for players here. They get to pick the map and then pick their counter civ. Migo will have to pick his map first and lock it. Knowing Migo, I'm expecting Portuguese here. I've seen a lot of Portuguese play in the EPL, and he has played a bit of Portuguese on water maps since. Other options could be British, but British or Portuguese are the options for Migo, I would guess.
Yes.
Oh, Aztec Mirror. Oh, here we go. Aztec Mirror on Indonesia. Right, both players are readied up. Map. Game number 3 will be played on Indonesia. Pablo asking, how is everyone doing? Fighting Frenchman has put a fish emoji. I suppose it is fitting, so we're about to be playing on Indonesia, a very heavy water map, but with an Aztec Mirror, both players could be careful that it doesn't turn into a double land rush. Both players having their fire pits somewhat forward, so I can say that's balanced in that own respect. Berries forward as well. These two berries are back, but the coin mine. So one player has berries forward, the other player has coin mine forward. Anyone nearby hunt actually? Nearby zeros. Obviously, 2 wild elephants are massive. Yes, a nearby zero hunt. Yeah, it looks to be pretty balanced in terms of the land map. Yeah, some more hunt here as well. That's okay. On the sea, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11 whales? 11. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's 10 whales. This is just the starting spawn for me, which disappears very quickly afterwards. The game will eventually start when Prince gets in. Right, so welcome back. This is the 3rd game of a best of 5 series between Amigo and PrinceofKabul. Round of 16 of the ESOC Stay-at-Home competition. Aztec Mirror is going to be the matchup on ESOC Indonesia, a map I know all you guys watching at home really enjoy. Some players enjoy it, some don't enjoy it, let's say.
Yes.
Prince being amazed at the free fire pit as well. Usually for European civilizations, they get extra coin and a saloon. Both players, get the extra coin as standard, but there's no saloon available for Aztecs, so they go for fire pit instead. Looks like this Marathon Catamaran has a umbrella as its sail. I don't often see this with a teal colour, but it's just always funny how the ship, or should I say raft, even actually floats and moves around. Has 220 HP and actually can tank a ship shot as well, but that looks flimsy as, and yeah, there's nothing else to watch in Age 1. Right, Prince moving in the middle of the map, picking up a couple of the water buffaloes. Water buffaloes are the equivalent of cows, very strong livestock, certainly worth fighting over for. Cows spawn on the islands in single on their own, but these two water buffaloes do spawn on the southern islands, which has another treasure, coin mine, lots of hunt and trees, and to the North Islands. I'm expecting, if the game goes late game, some villagers making their way to these islands, but in an Aztec mirror with no second town centre, early second town centre opportunities like the Portuguese have, we might see both players staying on the central islands, with having some fish eco. Not confirmed, but it might all be all the action focused on this main island instead of drifting off into all the other islands. But we'll have to see. I can't really speculate because it does depend whether it's going to be a land game or a sea game. The decks can show us so much. Oh well, no, it doesn't actually. Migo's going full land deck here. You could have a semi-water deck just to kind of give you options like what Prince has, water dats and the 3 Talok canoes in the 4th age. But Migo's just going pure lands at this point, so who needs the water on Indonesia when you're playing Aztec and going for land aggression? Right, both players aging up the messenger. Oh no, herding the elephant away. That is such a bad herd from Migo. That's so much walking time. And instead of actually abandoning that and then chopping some tree, waiting for 12 seconds to recharge so he can herd it back the other way, he's just killed the wild elephant so far from his town centre. And if a push comes in from Prince, that could be a game-losing move. Villagers, 3 villagers from Prince, 2 from Migo in the middle of the map. Nice little army here from PrinceofKabul, Panther, Tiger, and Explorer. Actually, it's going to keep this war hut at very low HP. Yeah, look at that siege coming from the Aztec Explorer. Just enough to keep this war hut always below 200 HP. These Tigers and Black Panthers only do about 1 damage per swing, but times 4 by the war hut, and it's just enough to keep this war hut very, very low. Look at the HP of this war hut. 300, 400. PrinceofKabul's nearly at 2,000, so this is going to be so risky, such low HP for Migo. Prince's gets up first. He could even go 6 Pumas first card, or train 5 Pumas and send May Sultans and just commit for the town centre kill. Prince's war hut's now targeting down Migo's Explorer, and same for Migo's targeting down Prince's Explorer. A bit of a fight here, and this is where the action is going to be to kick us off this game. And oh, Coyote rounds is open. I wasn't expecting Coyotes. Migo's also opening up with Coyotes, and these Coyotes rounds are going straight into the base. And we talk about that hunt being so far away from the town centre. He's got no hunt near his town centre. I still think going for Pumas, you did have that coin to start off the game, the extra coin crate. And this war hut only has 400 HP. That could be a great place to siege. Right, Coyotes engaging Prince's Explorer. Prince pulling back his Coyotes. 700 wood, the first card from Prince. Migo went 3 Warrior Priests for some reason. I don't know why he'd send that in this instance, especially when your war hut's only on 400 HP. Risk of going down. There's the 10 May Sultans. Just imagine if there were 6 Pumas at this point. That war hut would have been going down. But he's going to have to try and pick off these units while he has that local military lead. 5 Coyotes, or 6 Coyotes from Migo, not the greatest shipment. He's going to lose all that mass. Didn't train too many units behind this, and that war hut's about to go down. Never was repaired, and couldn't get the repaired off because it's quite often being targeted down. That's going down. He must have built another one at home. Oh, he hasn't. Oh, he's all in on that forward war hut, but it's gone. I mean, now we have May Sultans and Coyotes charging across the field straight into Migo's base. There's no war hut. All the food's forward. He does have a couple of water buffalo, about 150 food. That's about it though. 6 Pumas come out, but that's easy micro for Prince, focusing down his Pumas, even if they are in cover modes. He's fine with that, because the Coyotes are just putting pressure on the villagers. No market, well, he does on the market, but you're not going to go for great coats at this point. Warrior's been trained from 4 Warrior Priests in the fire pit. That's nice, but it's just not enough. It won't be enough. And even the Coyotes here are going to try and pick off one. And Migo's typing GG. And yeah, that was a very, very quick game. I think we need a cliff through the middle of the map to stop any quick rushes, but Prince of Kabul going for that rush and putting Prince of Kabul putting so much siege damage onto Migo's Warheart. I think that game was pretty much over at the end of Age 1 there, as soon as that damage was being taken on that Warheart. No 6 Pumas early out from Prince of Kabul. That would have confirmed the kill on the Warheart and prevented any units being trained, but opening up with a Coyote shipment as well just didn't feel that was the right shipment at that time. Anyway, GG's been called. We can look at the military unit count, but that's probably about it. Just that early engagement, and at this point that Warheart is still up but goes down, and another shipment comes out, 6 Pumas, but it's just not enough under Mace Olsen's Coyotes, and the resign comes in very, very quickly afterwards. And yeah, the GG, that all resources gathered difference is just that 700 wood crate. People in the chat now are typing F for the paying their respects to Migo, going 3 warrior priests first. Tit saying finish it. Oh. Cassette saying that his dad is jacked. One interesting thing to say about your dad.
Yes.
Right, Migo's map pool is Dhaka, Manchuria, or Cascade Range. So Migo was playing French on Cascade Range during the stream. Prince of Kabul, seeing what Migo was up to, goes for Russia. Will Migo still stay with his French pick? I do believe Prince was observing that game and did see what Migo's plans was. And actually, I think French, and that's a native play, do alright here. So Migo actually may want to stay with his French play, but he might want to change it up and go for a different civ and maybe catch Prince unaware. Right, Amigo picking French, and it looks like that Amigo's going to stay with his tried and tested method on Cascade Range. Will we see Migo go for natives, native treaties, dock play as well? That's what we're expecting, but both players are ready. Nerdbot trying to take the Prince down. Keep dreaming, kid. That smack talk has started. Right, we are back for game number 4. Migo wanted to go for the 3-0 over Prince, but Prince managed to win last game to get a point on the board, and that was an Aztec mirror. Prince of Kabul, though, picking the Russians on Cascade Range, the home map from Migo. Migo went for the Cascade Range Other options were Dhaka, Manchuria, but decided to go for Cascade range and playing his trusty old French on Cascade range. A map and a sieve on the map he's been practicing quite a lot recently. Looking around, there's one elk hunt over here, one down to the west. Is that, yeah, one north, so I'm expecting one west, one north. Quite far away, actually. Ooh, that's a really close second. Where's the equivalent one for Migo? I'm struggling to see it, and it might be that. Yeah, I think that's probably possibly this hunt over here, shall I say? And this one's just an extra one spawning in the far corner, like this hunt does. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Alright, yes, I'm happy with the map. Right, so fourth game here. Wood crate start. Food as well. It's like French having 300 wood, 300 food, 200 wood. Pardon me. PrinceofKabul also getting the 200 wood crate start as well. Let's see what both players are planning to do with that bit of wood. Prince, though, moving down to the west-hand side of the map, trying to find his low-tier treasures. We'll find 20 coin, 50 food, may path to the north side and find 30 coin as well. Migo picking up 20 coin as well. And when you see a den of muskrats worth 20 coin, it's just so sad because it could be 50. And it feels like, is it worth your time just going to the treasure and picking up when there are slightly better treasures out on the map? Not many, though. A lot of low-tier, what we call tier 1 treasures. 50 food, 40 wood is probably the best you can get, but I'm not too sure there's even a wood treasure on the map. I haven't seen a 40 wood treasure yet, so I don't think one's even spawned. Oh no, Migo got one at the start of the game, so yeah, there was one at some point.
Votre ordre?
Hunting dogs coming in from Migo. Migo playing as the French, opening up with a house market on the 200 wood crate starts. The coin from the muscat treasures allowed him to go for the early hunting dogs as well as that 40 wood treasure. So, that early market was really affordable for Migo on a wood crate start. That was how French was used to play back in the day. But even these extra little treasures makes that such an easier strategy to go for. Migo likely to go for a 13 villager age up as well then. Prince can only still go for that 14 village up. Russia, they can't really age one vill earlier because they train their villagers in batches for free. Would a 17 village up make sense here? Probably not, especially if Migo's going to go age up one villager early in his own right. Prince could play defensive with many blockhouses at home and just try and play in a turtle manner, but you wouldn't often play turtle versus French, so it's interesting how the roles may reverse around on this map, considering that Migo may want to go for his native play, which has been favouring recently. We see Pioneers, we see Wilderness Warfare, native treaties, and the native combat cards in the second and third age. It looks like native treaties, you get a shipment of units each time you ally with a new native trading post, whether you've built it or not. So you may build Klamath first, send the card, then send a Nutka afterwards, and you get a shipment of Nutka arrive at your town centre as soon as that's built. So it's a really strong card when you're going for two different natives. 700 wood's also nice. The Nutka, though, have a great attack as well. Nutka Club Barkin. Let's have a look here. Nutka Club Barkin, 50% HP. So with Great Coats, with Pioneers, with Nutka Club Barkin, with Wilderness Warfare, villagers, or CDBs, shall I say, get up to about 480 HP. So very, very strong hand. PrinceofKabul is playing Russia with only one town centre. I'm not too sure how a single town centre can defend all that. So I think Prince may actually want to be aggressive and try and not get to that point where Migo is sending all his native upgrades for his units. So the Quartermaster coming in for Migo, PrinceofKabul going for the Quartermaster as well. 1 CDB in queue, so Migo agent with 13 CDB, and then we'll chain his 14th one on the age up. Prince of Kabul at home. Blockhouse. Nope, Blockhouse is slightly forwards. Market at home. Oh, I dislike this Blockhouse greatly. That is so far away from town centre fire. If you're going to sit at home with your Blockhouse, actually sit at home with your Blockhouse, because this feels very raidable. It's right next to the Klamath settlement here. I'm not a fan of this, unless you want to try and kind of block off some choke points, maybe put a wall here, wall section here, just to try and shield the Blockhouse as well. But that is quite vulnerable in its own right. Prince of Kabul, 30 out of 25 population. He doesn't have any musketeers in queue, and it's going to be more than what the Cossacks come in. So it looks like Prince's first card here will be the 13 Strelets. So 13 Strelets, may need to go build a couple of extra houses as well. He's done that with the Age Up Woods. Hunting dogs coming in yet, so not going greedy with steel traps. 5 muskets now in queue, so he's going to open up with a 5 musketeer, 13 Strelet batch to try and deal with Migo's clubmen and Klamath rifles. No ATP here, of course, so the TPs can't fight back versus the Strelets. But early on, I think the Strelets do very well versus the Klamath rifles. Just there's so many of them. They're cheap, they're spammable, they're cost efficient. Each of these rifles costs 60 wood, so certainly not a cheap unit to have. And a batch of Nootka and Klamath out in the field. Is native treaties coming in from Migo? No, he went 4 CDBs to start off with. He could send us his card number 2, but he's already running away at this point from just 13 Strelets. The power of the Russian Strelets. Oh, nice pickup though. Klamaths pop out onto Musketeers, or should I say Colonial Rusketeers, and yeah, they dominate that fight very quickly. So clubmen are moving across the map. There's native treaties batch. Is it 5 Nootka, 4 Nootka, and 4 Klamath? So yeah, native treaties came in, and Migo now going for his 3rd training post. Another Klamath. He wants 1 Nootka to get a handful of these infantry warriors, but he wants some mass Klamath rifles. He can only do that on 2 native TPs, because each native TP gives you an extra build limit increase, and that's what sometimes kind of hinders native strategies, is you can't build them endlessly. You can only build a certain number. But he wants to try and increase his production of Klamaths. Right, here come the 5 Cossacks. It was inevitable they will be shipped at some point in this game. Looks like he's going to ship them as card number 3 instead of 700 wood. Right, Cossacks straight away snaring the Klamaths. The Klamaths could actually just let that happen and focus down the Cossacks and let the Nookas just come in and help them out. But these Strelets, they're not really challenged here, and that's just a nice thing for Prince. Prince could go for... he could send 700 wood, train more Strelets at second blockhouse, or he could go 700 coin, stable more Cossacks, and Cossacks put the pain on the Klamaths. Is a lot of options here for Prince, and that is a really early native combat card, 15%. It is 15%, I will check after this, but it feels like Migo kind of needed 700 wood to kind of keep that spam going, but these units have actually outclassed Russia quite drastically and got great engagement. Prince has trapped so far away from his home, and all the Strelets and Cossacks gone down, and that's a disaster for Prince. His entire army is gone. And this blockhouse is the next target. 10 Strelets have been trained there, so they'll be in a fight as soon as they pop in, but they're so far away from the town centre. It's easy to run away from a town centre. Minutemen pop. Okay, Minutemen do come up, but they come up the wrong side. Cossacks and Strelets come. Minutemen time in push as well. Musketeers has pretty much already gone down already, and this is the best that Prince can really hope for. Cossacks on top of the Klamaths. Minutemen getting in, but Klamath has so much HP now. Wilderness Warfare, 20% HP on both these units. Nootka, 270 HP. Klamath, 310. Prince knew this was coming. Like he's watched the game before the series happened. He knew this is the playstyle and what was happening, but I think we've all underrated and underestimated the HP stats on his infantry units. 310. And compare that to 120 from the Musketeers. It's a bit one-sided in terms of the single Kamath versus a single Shredder or a single Musketeer, but how Migo can get so many of those units together so quickly due to the strong French eco, native treaties cards, and then just send those upgrades straight away. Prince has got no blockhouse, lost his army out in the open, and only made one blockhouse in total. If there was 2 blockhouses at home, it may have been different, but Prince now nearly down in half the score what Migo is. 3 Hussars now being sent by Migo. A smart shipment just to clean up any side blockhouse and shred it pop. I think it's more of a safe play. The more correct play would be going for a coin crate or wood crate, but you don't really know from Migo exactly if there's a blockhouse up and about somewhere. One's been thrown up in the bottom corner of the map, but there'll be ages before any shreds pop out. But yeah, it's just Migo is too good for Prince this game, and Migo is going to win this series versus PrinceofKabul 3-1. So if we look at that French card, native combat in age 2, 15% HP, 15% damage. You say that's strong, but you say that that card's strong, but you need to remember natives at the moment aren't always the greatest unit to have in any situation. Iro has 10% infantry combat for their Aena, Tomahawk, and Mantlets. The what is it called? Conservative tactics. Russia have Strelec, Cossack combat in the second age in Boyars. So quite a lot of these civs have these big cards to upgrade combat. You could say Daimyo has a combat card in its. Japan has a combat card in its Daimyo. But yeah, PrinceofKabul observed the fun game between Migo and Breeze. Observed the playstyle Migo went for, and when French was picked on this map, Prince knew what was coming, but just could not overcome this natives play from Migo. And I'm sure the next person that Migo will be up against will be scratching his head on how to deal with Migo's Nuka Klamath rifle spam on Cascade range. .310 HP, just tanks so much building fire. 14 range attack, like it's 16 range. They're not true skirmishers because they don't have the same range as a skirmisher, but they have the same range as a. I think Strelitz is either 16 or 18 range. They're not as long range units as other skirmishers. So you could say if you're playing maybe Dutch, you can kite these units for days. Nuka again, 270 HP. You need to think Rodoleros, another infantry type, they have 135 HP without any upgrades on. So 2 upgrades here. Nuka Club can have double the HP as a Rodolero. Pike's 120. Musketeers 120. You see how this HP stacks so much, and they basically become resistant to building fire, and they just swamp with numbers, and that's what makes it so strong. You don't need much housing population because these guys don't take any housing population, but they all cost wood, and I think that's where the native treaties comes so good, because it's just so many resources on the field straight away, but quite a lot of it is wood as well. Look at the village accounts. PrinceofKabul had to idle some of his town centre there to get out batches of musketeers, but the musketeers, as soon as they were made, they were picked off, and I question the production of any musketeers versus Klamath rifles and Nukas. The Klamaths just outshine them very, very quickly. 14 with a ×2 versus musketeers. So that's 28 damage from musket. When fighting musketeers. Musketeers in return only did about 18 range damage. They're only colonial Russian units, so they're pretty weak in that respect. And yeah, the wrong units for the wrong job. Mass cavalry could work here. Military unit count works well because it's Russia. Cossacks only cost 1 population. You see it's out in the open, but once those Cossacks went down, it just fell apart for Migo. Reimbursed with 5 muskets, the 10 Strelets, Cossacks and Minutemen, but it just wasn't enough, and then yeah, the game was over at that point.